The theme for 2025 is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. The theme for April is Fertilizing Our Future. And our topic for today, Visioning Beyond the Horizon. Howard Thurman wrote, "Our dreams are our spirit, the vital part of us. They become for us the bearers of new possibility, the enlarged horizon, the great hope. Even as they romp among the stars, they come back to their place in our lives, bringing with them the radiance of the far heights, the lofty regions, and giving to all our days the lift and the magic of the stars." And Michael Beckwith reminds us that the power of visioning is not just seeing what you want, but allowing what is already within you to unfold and express through you. Let us affirm together. I set my vision beyond the horizon, aligning with the future I desire. Please welcome Reverend Kathleen.
Go. All right. It was Palm Sunday, and 5-year-old Orion had a sore throat. So his mother said, okay, we need to stay behind, and the rest of the family went to the service. So when they arrived home, they all had palm fronds in their hands. And he was like, what are those all about? And his father said, well, he said, the people lined the streets with them to herald Jesus' return, and they held him over his head as he walked by. And Orion had this horrible look on his face, and he said, oh no, the only Sunday that I didn't get to go, and Jesus shows up. So before humbly riding through the crowds in Jerusalem with the palm fronds and the heralding and the hallelujahs, Jesus went up to, he was actually up at the top of the Mount of Olives. And he was looking over the horizon, looking at Jerusalem below, and looking over the horizon. And what I'm imagining is, as he was looking down, there was a vision that was pulling him forward, a vision that had continued to pull him forward throughout his entire life, a vision that helped him to see beyond the horizon of his conditioned mind, a vision that was so much greater than he maybe even thought was possible for him. And so part of that vision that he caught was he realized that we are so much more than mortal beings trying to eke out a comfortable life for ourselves. We're so much more than that. We are light beings, beings of infinite possibility and infinite potentiality. And so he wanted to be an example of that. He was guided. The vision pulled him into being an example of that, living a life that was from that awareness of who he was. And so he became not only the great example for humanity, he became the great way shower by teaching spiritual principles, through his parables and so on, that awakened humanity to who they were in truth, something far beyond who we ever thought we could possibly be. Unlimited beings, eternal beings, beings of light, beings who are actively co-creating our lives with spirit. And he said very boldly, I am the light of the world. And he said, you too are the light of the world. Not just I am the light of the world, you too are the light of the world. Let your light shine before humanity that they may see your good works and glorify the God within you. So when we take in the true meaning of that, when we stand in that, when we continue to remind ourselves of that, things begin to change in our lives. I loved Howard Thurman's beautiful quote that Mark just read because it reminds me of the loftiness of our visions and our dreams. They're not just, oh, you're daydreaming kind of thing. No, they are spirit itself pulling us forward into greater versions of ourselves, helping us to see beyond the horizon of where we normally see. I love this idea of the lofty regions of the divine mind when we are pulled by the vision. So as he was pulled by the vision was calling him to go down into Jerusalem and not to ride a white steed, but to ride the colt of a donkey, to demonstrate humility, a different kind of way of showing up for somebody who's a leader in those times. And so as he was standing on that hill, I'm going to go back to the hill or the mountain, Mount of Olives. He went into a state of total discouragement and despair and hopelessness for a period of time because he could kind of tell what was coming. He could tell what was coming for him. But there was an attunement to the divine within. And I'm just thinking of us when we're in despair and it feels hopeless. There's a way that we can turn within to that field of all possibility and all potentiality, and to raise us into confidence and faith and trust and courage to do what is ours to do. And that's exactly what happened with him. As he attuned to that indwelling presence, courage arose, strength arose, and the ability to act on what his guidance was. And because he did that, it altered the course of humanity in the direction of rising in love, rising in peace, rising in the willingness to be of service to something greater than ourselves, to each other and to humanity, to work for peace. Buckminster Fuller wrote, "You do not belong to yourself, you belong to the universe. Be assured that you are fulfilling your destiny as you convert your experiences to the highest good of others." As you convert your experiences to the highest good of others. So when we make a commitment to lead a God-touched life, our consciousness changes, and as within, so without. Everything around us changes. Anybody notice that? Anybody have that experience? Yeah. As you change your consciousness, your life begins to change, becomes more enriched. And it may be kind of rocky for a while when you first start changing your consciousness, or anytime you make a leap. But that's when the old ways of being, the old ways of expressing fall away, and something new is birthed. So this day, this beautiful Palm Sunday, let us commit to a God-touched life. A life of shining our lights, letting our potential unfold, and being in greater service. And we can do that through the practice of visioning, powerful spiritual practice. And so I actually have some small pieces of paper and a pen or a pencil is on your chair as well. So you might want to get those ready, but before you do, I want to explain a little bit about this thing called visioning. So visioning is a contemplative form of meditation. It's not visualizing. It's not visualizing at all, because it's really about taking you beyond, into a portal, beyond your conditioned mind, and into that field of all possibility, things you may have not even thought of before that are possibilities for your life. And so because you're making that connection with the universal mind of God, which surrounds us. And we are portals. We are portals through which we can access this wider way of viewing and seeing. So this visioning process then is for understanding our purpose, for understanding the highest vision for our lives. It's for surrendering into this greater vision, this higher plan. And it supports us in clarifying the vision, particularly when we do a series of them and make it as a regular practice. I have a regular practice every Saturday with Eugene. Eugene and I do the visioning process with and for each other. And it continues. It's so beautiful when it's regular like that, how the vision continues to expand and enlarge. Visioning also reminds us that we are full participants in creation, and we can therefore bring a greater vision forward into manifestation on this planet through us. We're each a vital part of the new earth that we've heard about from Eckhart Tolle. So this process then involves asking deep reflective questions and listening reverently and deeply for insights to emerge. It empowers us then to take bold, inspired steps toward manifesting that vision. So let's practice. Ready? I invite you to turn within. Close your eyes and take a few deep, powerful, cleansing breaths. And you might want to yawn and stretch a little bit too as you do that. That's a little bit of help from our scientists who say that this is a great way to relax and open the mind and make it available. So yawning and stretching. Two more. Settling in, feeling the bottoms of your feet in contact with the floor. Your body supported by the chair. And bring your attention again back to the breath. Settling into the stillness, into the silence. And imagine that you are standing at the top of a summit, looking out over humanity and cities or whatever below you, and being touched by the Spirit, the light of the Spirit. Your mind lighting up, your heart lighting up, your lower dantian, that power center lighting up, your entire being lit up. by the spirit of truth that you are, in full connection with universal mind. And so as you gaze over the landscape below, notice that you're seeing as far as a horizon. And so as you're being touched by the Spirit, something happens. You suddenly move through a portal into a whole new field of possibilities and potentialities. And those potentialities and possibilities that are provided by the very love of the divine, there for you to pick and choose, to listen to, and to understand more deeply your purpose in being here. And no matter what our age, our purpose for being here is grand. And so then I'd like you to contemplate that first question that's on your paper. What is Spirit's or God's highest idea or vision for my life? Listen deeply, and then at your own pace, you're invited to write something down there, and there's also room on the back of the paper if you have more to write. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment and let you listen and contemplate. Next, what must I release to activate the vision? Listen deeply for the answer. What must I release? What ideas or thoughts that are limiting, what beliefs that are limiting must I release? And again, you're welcome to write at any point. And finally, what must I embrace or become to activate this vision? Listen. Okay, let's turn within in prayer. And I invite the band to come up when they're ready. So I'm so grateful to know that this divine download is not only happening now, but is continuing even beyond this moment as new ideas and new thoughts and new potentialities continue to flow through this beautiful connection that we've made here today. I'm knowing right here and right now that this embrace of this spiritual practice called visioning is something that inspires all of us to continue, because I know that what happens each and every time is a deeper, more continuous connection with the Spirit, a greater continued evolution in consciousness, up the scale of conscious evolution, more freedom, more peace, more love, more joy, a greater sense of purpose, and all of the guidance, the strength, the courage, and everything else that is so important for the fulfillment of this beautiful thing called life.